Sixth year biology students who are sitting their exam in June 2026, you need to know a chapter known as energy carriers. So I'm going to talk you through this chapter, which is crucially important for you to also understand other chapters like photosynthesis and respiration. So when we talk about energy carriers, we are talking about ADP and ATP first of all. So in this video, I am going to cover the difference between those two. If I talk about what ATP is, ATP transfers energy. Now, why would we in the human body, for example, need energy? If you think of certain locations in your body, like muscles are continuously contracting. And in order for your muscles to contract, they are going to need energy. So when ATP breaks down to ADP, it supplies the energy that our cells will need. So if we start off with ATP, what is it? The basic unit of ATP is known as a nucleotide. So A stands for adenosine and TP stands for tri, meaning 3, phosphates. So adenosine triphosphate. Now what is it made of? The basic unit of ATP is known as a nucleotide. So when we look at the structure of ATP, we have a nitrogenous base called adenine, which you might have covered in the DNA chapter. You have a 5-carbon sugar called ribose, and you have 1, 2, 3 phosphates. When adenine and ribose combine together, that's the word adenosine. That's where it comes from. Now, how do we make ATP? We make ATP from a lower energy carrier molecule called ADP, adenosine diphosphate. So if we look at the structure of ADP, we have our nitrogenous base, adenine, we have our 5-carbon sugar ribose, but this time we only have 2 phosphates, hence the diphosphate. Now when ADP and a phosphate are added together, that is called synthesis of ATP. And that bond that forms with the ADP and the new phosphate, that bond holds energy, forms ATP. So when ATP breaks down back to ADP and loses that phosphate, energy is supplied to the cell of a plant or to an organism like a human. Other different processes that require this energy would be the likes of active transport. Remember, active transport molecules are moving against the concentration gradient. So, for example, other places in a human body which might require energy would be the likes of the sperm cell. Remember, the mitochondria is in the collar of the sperm cell in order for it to move to where it needs to go. In the nephron of the kidney, for example, you would have also come across active transport. You would have come across active transport after the glomerulus as well in the kidney, in the nephron. So active transport requires this ATP because the ATP will break down. The bond between the 2nd and 3rd phosphate will break apart and energy is released to the cell, which the cell will use. So we can go from ADP to ATP, which means that they're interconvertible. You will do a lot of that in photosynthesis and respiration. Now, there's also another product that is made when ATP is formed. So ADP plus a phosphate will form ATP plus water because it's what's known as a condensation reaction. So a lot of the time you'll also see, especially in photosynthesis, in the light stage, you'll have water written beside your ATP as a product. And that's because it is another product of that condensation reaction. So that is your ADP and your ATP, which are your energy transfer molecules, which are required for certain processes in organisms. Even for plants, for example, certain ions will move in from the soil in through the root hairs, and because they're moving against the concentration gradient, they are going to require energy. And it's the breakdown of the adenosine triphosphate that will supply the energy that these cells are going to use. So this is Unit 2 Energy Carrier chapter, and this is the difference between ADP and ATP.